Welcome into the Matrix Midwest studios here in Maryland Heights. I am Gracie Barra. I am joined by Jacob Cersosimo, who is not with us here in Maryland Heights this week. Hey, Jacob, where are you joining us from?
I'm in Jupiter, Florida, and the day we're recording this, it's like the hottest day it's been here all week.
Oh, I feel
There's
so
not a
bad
cloud
for
in the
you.
sky. Yeah, it's like 80 degrees, a little bit of wind, so sun's still about directly above my head right now, so I'm thinking a beach day might be in store for the rest of today. But yeah, I hope you guys are warm up there.
Yeah, it's actually a high of 43 today, so I appreciate that. And beach day, I saw you also found a run club while you were down there too.
Yes, so I miss my St. Louis Run Club because I've
Okay.
been down here all week. So I just looked one up on Instagram, met some great people. Shout out to Luke and Brooke, and Amanda started the Run Club. I met her last night from LA, moved over here, started it at Harborside. A lot of good people. 3 miles last night along like a river walk. Oh, it was gorgeous. It was so good. So
Wow.
yeah, I mean, it's been really good. The Run Club people a lot of people run down here all year. Perfect down here. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, it sounds like the life. I assume you're also doing work too while you're down there?
At some point, yeah.
Okay.
Most days, yeah. Most mornings, everything that the Cardinals do happens in the morning, I would assume, because it gets so hot in the afternoon. So yeah, most days by mid-afternoon, the work is done.
So you've talked to a lot of people this week. Is there a favorite interview you've done, a favorite guy you've talked to?
I've had some really good interviews. I had Pedro Pajes, the catcher. Pedro Pajes and I, not like we're friends or acquaintances, but I covered him when he was in Springfield. So like we kind of recognize each other from his time in the minor leagues and my time working at KY3 in Springfield. And so I've interviewed him a few times. Great personality, great guy. His interview was really fun to do just because he has a lot of interesting things to say, because he was here when Yadi was playing and now he's here when Yadi is coaching. And so he had some really, not inside baseball, but like an insight of Yadi as a teammate and Yadi as a coach. So that was really interesting. Alec Burleson's interview, he was so real, and the whole interview was just about his leadership with the team and getting out of his comfort zone. That was really good. And then just a little bit ago on Friday, Matthew Liberatore, as he gets ready to make his first start of the year and the first game that the Cardinals have in spring training, chatted with him for a little bit. And he's calm, he's focused, he's ready to go. So a lot of good connections down here and a lot of good interviews over the last few days.
Okay, so you talked about Matthew Liberatore right there. Obviously, things are trending toward him getting the opening day start. But as for the rest of the rotation, what are you seeing with those younger arms in the competition there?
Yeah, it's really interesting because you look at like Dobbins, or you look at Richard Fitz or Andre Palante, Kyle Leahy, Mike McGreevy. Like, these are all kind of guys in the mix, or guys that want to be in the mix there. And when talking to Palante, McGreevy, and Leahy, they're kind of in that mix to be 3, 4, 5, or they might go a 6-man rotation at some point. And Mike McGreevy said it best when he was like, I asked him about the mix, like balancing the competition outside of things with like supporting each other. Because if you watch anything this week with the pitchers, every time they do live batting practice, the other pitchers are right behind them, supporting them, being with them the whole time. So that's been really fun to watch, is how supportive these guys are of each other. And I asked him, balancing the support with the competitive nature of it. And he goes, to be fair, I think it's a common misconception that we're competing with each other. He says, I'm not competing with Andre Palante. Anything Andre does doesn't affect me. That's what he told me. And it's kind of true. Like, they're pitchers. It's not like they're pitching against each other. They're pitching to be the best version of themselves as they look forward to, earning a spot. And nothing Andre can do is going to affect Michael. Nothing Michael can do affect Kyle or Richard or whatever the case may be. So it was really interesting to see their mindset. And it wasn't just Michael McGreevy. That is Andre Palante's mindset. Kyle Leahy says something similar. I asked Liberatore today about like how he not necessarily balances the competitiveness, but how he's seen the competitiveness and the support. And he was like, we have a lot of support between all of us, and we're really pulling the rope the same way. So that part on the pitching side has been really interesting to see. Liberatore obviously getting the first start in spring training. Wouldn't be surprised if he got the first start on opening day, but he seems ready. He seems focused, and he's been really, as Ollie says, locked in during spring training, so he can be the guy that they want him to be.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think if we go back to last season, I'm not sure if we would have expected Liberatore to be in this position, obviously, because of all of the personnel changes that have been made. Um, but you spoke to him. What he's got a pretty like chill personality, I would say. He's not gonna be like a big rah rah guy in the clubhouse. But how do you see him approaching this bigger role?
I think he's ready for it. And I asked Ollie yesterday about, like, we were talking about Alec Burleson stepping into a bigger role this year and being out of his comfort zone and being a little bit more leadership focused because he can be. And Ollie was like, "That's the step you hope guys make because it's a natural progression in their career. When they start in the league, they're a young guy, they're soaking up everything, they're a sponge, and then as you get older, you want them to get into that point of their career where they can be a leader, they can be vocal, they can guide guys along." And that's what Matthew Liberatore is doing. Like he's in that point of his career where he can guide guys along and be supportive of other guys. And both Liberatore and Ollie said on Friday that that's what Libby has done a really good job of this spring is he realizes where the organization is with the young guys coming in here and the young core and focusing on young arms. And he's done a really good job of being, hey, this is how we do things here. This is how things happen, and being supportive and helping along. So Liberatore has kind of stepped into that role. But as Ollie said yesterday about Alec Burleson, he's like, that's how you want guys to progress through their career. You want them to be at that point where they can be a leader, and it's just a natural progression of their career. And when they get to that point, that's where they should be. And that's where a lot of these guys are right now that are kind of aging up. They're still young, but like aging up. They're not seasoned vets yet.
Okay, let's talk behind the plate. Obviously, a lot of good catchers on this Cardinals team. Yadier Molina, he's there in Jupiter. What have you seen from him, and what have the catchers told you about interacting with him?
Yeah, they love what Yadi brings, and it's strictly the knowledge. And Yadi's a work guy. Pedro Pajes, I go, what have you learned most from? Like, one thing you've learned most from? And he goes, the work. You just got to work. Like, the season's a grind, baseball's a grind. You do the same thing every day, but that's the best part. You do the same thing every day. It's a grind. You're supposed to do everything. So Pedro Pajes has loved the work part of it, but it's all like the small things that just you can't learn from just anybody, right? Like a coach can teach you so much, but someone that has sustained success in the big leagues for as long as Yadier Molina did, there's a wealth of knowledge that he brings. And what I think's been really interesting about the catchers in this camp is one of the first days I was here, Ivan Herrera was in the outfield taking outfielding drills, and we asked Ollie about it, and he goes, "Oh yeah, he had a non-throw day, so they were doing like throwing down to second base that day. The catchers were, so he didn't work with the catchers." And we're like, was he supposed to go with the outfielders? He's like, no, he just can't sit still. That's why he went out there. So he's taking initiative, knowing that at some point, if they're going to have 3 catchers on the roster, he's going to need to step out somewhere else in need of emergency, and he can do that. He did that last year in left field. So he goes out and does that. The other day, looking at first base, Joel Pozo taking ground balls at first base with Alec Burleson. And both Ollie and Burley were over there, like guiding him along and teaching him how to play first base. And same thing, like, why was Pozo over at first base? And Ollie was like, oh, it was like whatever drill the catchers were doing, like that wasn't the drill that Pozo was supposed to do that day. So he just stepped into first base to take extra reps. And you have guys on this roster right now that don't have to be moving to other positions to try to do whatever. But if you're going to have 3 catchers on the roster, these 3 catchers are making sure that they want to be on the roster, and this team needs them on the roster by trying to be as versatile as possible. And so that's been interesting to watch, is these catchers, every time they're not needed somewhere or do something, they go do something else. They're active. They're not just sitting around waiting for their number to be called to be at catcher. They're making their game more accessible in different ways, and that's been really, really fun to watch. And I can't help but think of Yadier Molina in that moment, thinking, hey, it's about work. If all 3 of you are going to be there, you can't get innings every day. Like, these guys aren't going to catch every single, I mean, maybe they are if they go 3 innings, 3 innings, but I would assume these guys aren't going to catch every day. So it's been interesting to see these catchers become versatile and then also just continue to work to get better. And Yadier Molina has been a huge part of that.
You mentioned Ivan Herrera. He's a guy that we haven't seen catch in quite some time. He worked through that injury, surgery in the off season. He's coming back now. How is he feeling? What did he look like?
Yeah, you see guys that you're like, oh, they're taking some time off, they're not doing anything. And Ivan Herrera, even though he's hurt, he's not like, I haven't noticed it really at all. Now, I haven't been in like the big throwing drills or anything like that. Like, it seems like he's on pace to be, to be ready when he's supposed to be ready. However, he was supposed to catch a live BP today. I believe it was on the schedule in Roger Dean Stadium, and he wasn't the catcher for that BP. So I don't think you need to look too much into that, but I think they're kind of just managing his workload at times so they don't burn him out, considering it's February and he's coming back from injury and you don't need him to. He caught Andre Palante on Thursday, and I thought he did a good job. He was blocking balls, and he was having fun. Like, he blocked a ball and smiled and laughed. Was like, let's do this. Like, this is what I meant to do. So I don't really think there's any hiccups with what's going on with him, but I think the Cardinals are, taking it slow because they can. Why would you rush him into things if he doesn't have to be rushed into things? But every time we ask Ollie Marmol about it, it seems normal. Like, yeah, just we're doing things and this is how it's supposed to be.
Another injury in the offseason, Lars Nootbaar. Is he on track to be ready by opening day?
So the funny part about Lars Nootbaar is no one really has a timeline. And if they do, they're not telling us about it, or they're not telling anybody about it. When we talked to Lars when he reported on Wednesday, he was talking about we're like, what's your timeline? Will you be ready for open day? He goes, I have no clue. I don't know. We're not putting a timeline on it. We don't want to put a timeline on it because we don't know where I'm going to be at any given moment. So he wasn't in Jupiter because I believe he was still in Southern California with like a zero gravity or a less gravity treadmill that they are getting here in Jupiter, but they don't have it here yet because of the renovations. So it wasn't anything like complicated or bad. It's just they hadn't had it here yet, and they wanted him to continue his rehab. Well, when he got here on Wednesday, we're like, are you ready to like run full speed or do any of that? And he was like, I just really wanted to be with my team. Like, he just didn't want to be away from his team any longer. And he was at practice on Thursday when I was there, and he was having a great time, laughing along with guys. Ollie was happy to see him. Like, he's there. I haven't seen him do anything but walk, but I'm also not allowed in the training room. So I don't know necessarily what he's been doing, but he says he's been doing baseball activities at times. So I don't know if he's on track to be opening day. It seems like they're also to a point where they're like, we don't necessarily want to like really, really rush this back to make it worse in the long run, where like come later this season, he just can't do anything because they rushed him now. So I don't necessarily know exactly where he's at in his rehab, and he wouldn't give any timetables, weeks, months, days, anything. But the most important note about Lars Nootbaar is he said that opening day is not off the table. So he could be at Busch on opening day.
I guess we'll have to wait and see, but obviously we know the two of them, Lars and Ivan, won't be part of World Baseball Classic. Other guys from the Cardinals that will be, I don't know, is that something that's been talked about down there in Jupiter?
Not much. Riley O'Brien won't be a part of the World Baseball Classic. That was announced on Friday morning by Ollie Marmol. He was supposed to be, I believe, what country he was playing for?
Korea.
Korea, is that right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, so he was supposed to be on Team Korea, and he had mild calf strain, I believe, is what it was, in his, I don't know which leg. It's on my camera. It was in an interview today, but like we were doing so many other things.
Yeah, you mean you have a lot to memorize. Don't worry.
And they said, all I know is he's not playing in the World Baseball Classic strictly because he's going to be out a couple weeks. Gotcha. They said it's going to take a couple weeks to like work through there, and so he will not be going to the WBC. Everyone else, I mean, you're kind of limited in like big leaguers going. I think Graceffo and Sajasi to Italy. You look at Ivan is not going to the WBC anymore.
I know that he was upset about that.
Yeah, and then I'm wondering to see how long Yadier Molina's here because I know he's coaching in the World Baseball Classic. But other than that, Riley O'Brien was the big name that's not going anymore, as he has a mild calf strain along those lines.
All these injuries keeping people out of the WBC.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't really. They didn't make it. It seemed like we're put him out a little bit and he'll be fine. So I mean, all eyes on opening day and moving into the actual season at this point. So we're still a month and some change away from that. So it doesn't seem like it's going to be like a long-term thing.
No, Ollie Marmol is definitely more concerned about opening day than he is about Team Korea's success in the WBC.
1000%. Yes.
Speaking of opening day, JJ Weatherholt, is there a chance he is in St. Louis for opening day?
I think there's a strong chance. We were talking to Ollie Marmol this morning, and we were talking about potentials of like leadoff batters in like potential of leadoff batters throughout the season. Who could be there? What are the names? And JJ Weatherholt's name came up, and it was just like kind of normal in the conversation. Not saying he's going to be there opening day, but the way he's progressing at camp seems to be really positive. And sometimes when they do the 4 infielders, he is the second baseman. It's not like he's not splitting reps necessarily. I mean, so JC's there a few times. They got other guys rotating in at second base. But when they have the 4 infielders, it's Burleson at first, it's JJ Weatherholt at second, it's Mason Wynn at shortstop, and it's Nolan Gorman at third. So I'm not saying for sure he's going to be there opening day, because there's a lot that could happen between now and then. We haven't even played games yet in spring training, but I think people have been really impressed by JJ Weatherholt and how he's been progressing through spring training and the off season and going into this year. I will just say this: I wouldn't be surprised if he was at Busch Stadium on opening day.
So let's say he's not. At what point? Give me like a date of the year that you would be surprised if he doesn't make it up to the bigs by that date.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say like day 2, but obviously I think he's going to be there on opening day.
Okay,
I truly do.
I'm holding you to that.
Just because you watch practice and there's 4 infielders and he's one of them, right? Like unless something happens, it just seems like they put, like, Brendan Donovan's not on the team anymore, and they put him at second base during these drills with Mason Wynn, the Gold Glover, with the Silver Slugger at first base, and with Nolan Gorman, who believes to be stepping into that spot. So it seems like a natural progression for him to be there. If he's not there, I think you have to just look at like roster numbers, and I'm not like the best in this situation because like the 40 man and who's there and what, like, you know what I mean? Like sometimes you can get real inside baseball with this, but you got to look at like who they have up. Like Thomas Ajacey can play second base. Who they have up at what time, and if they carry 3 catchers, how that affects things. Like I'm not truly positive when it comes to like how all of that stuff works in order of like numbers and games and all that stuff. But like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if he's there day 1, and if he's not, I don't think we'll have to wait very long unless it's like a numbers game with other players. That's the only other thing I can think of on why it would be a little bit longer or something.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point because Chaim Bloom traded away almost the entire infield. Just Mason Wynn left from last season, so the natural progression there is for JJ to come up, and the season he had last year definitely primed him to be here in St. Louis. So I'm with you. I don't think it's going to be long, and I think there needs to be something to get the fans excited here in St. Louis.
It's a youth movement.
Yeah.
Like he's the young guy. Bring him up, let him play. Unless there's some like holdback that we don't know of, but I haven't heard anything here that's like, oh yeah, he needs to like really work on this part of the game and it's just not ready yet. Like I haven't heard that. So it'd be weird for me if they were just like, oh, we can't hit this and he can't do this or do whatever, when he had all that success in Double and AAA last year, and he's the only second baseman out there when there's 4 people on the infield. So I think it would be weird for me to not see him, not even opening day, but early in the season. And then the interesting part would be how they utilize him, where in the lineup, how they do things. But fans would be really excited to see him. I think he is an exciting player, and he's really calm. Like he's not like all the guys on the team are. I mean, Victor Scott II's like woo, like he's a lot of fun to be around. Like I think people love his energy and the way he goes about things. But like they're calm, they go to work, they're really focused on just being the best version of themselves and being the St. Louis Cardinals this year.
So outside of JJ, were there any other minor league guys that you saw this past week that you think we could maybe see in St. Louis this year?
Church in the outfield, I think would be really interesting. He's kind of been taking live ABs with some of the top guys. I would think you'd probably see him at some point, just because of, like, who knows about the Lars Newbar injury and who's going to be in the outfield and how they're going to work that whole thing. Putting Alec Burleson in the infield more often and as more of a primary position at first base kind of opens up an outfield position. So I think you're going to see some, I would say maybe in the outfield more so than the infield, guys getting called up. I think JC was taking fly balls the other day. Joshua Baez, who had a incredible year last year in Double-A, I had a conversation with him at spring training. Just a really interesting guy, and he loves ball. And he's from the Boston area. Spent some time in Dominican Republic. He said he used to switch in his childhood to be with family, and he's a big dude. He's like Jordan Walker. Like, he's really a big guy, but he moves well in the outfield, which is interesting with these guys in the outfield. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him at some point, with a caveat there that, like, his progression, I know I've said progression like 1,000 times in this, but like his progression through AAA or double the AAA, wherever they start him this year, continues, and his bat continues to be good. I mean, he was an all-star last year in Double-A, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Joshua Baez at some point. I don't really there's 3 catchers, so I don't know if Jimmy Crooks maybe, if the injury bug hits him at catcher, which everyone hopes that doesn't happen, but Jimmy Crooks has been another name. As far as catchers go, as far as pitchers, you're looking at maybe like a Gordon Graceffo, who fans have seen in the past. I can't really, off the top of my head, other than like Church and Jimmy Crooks, Thomas Sajaci, who's probably going to start with the big league club. I can't really think of anybody else.
Sounds about
right.
Off
the top of my head, there probably is somebody else. I just can't think of it.
Well, I want to talk about you for a second. This is your first spring training. What have you made of the entire experience?
It's really good, and guys are really relaxed here. Like, it's different than and relaxed in a good way. And not saying they're like uptight on game days in St. Louis, but they got to play a game. Like, that's what they get paid to do. So you're catching them on game day. So it's been really nice to like interact with some of these players and talk to them in a more like subtle setting here as they get ready and as they're getting ready to play games and go through the spring. I think that you get some really good conversations with guys, not only guys, but like manager Ollie Marmol, and being able to sit in on some press conferences with him. And as these guys get started into the season, I think the best part about preseason or spring training or whatever the case may be for any given sport is there's always optimism. And I think sometimes during the season, towards the end of seasons, when teams are struggling a little bit, like the Cardinals were last year, like, out of the postseason or playoff picture, like the fans, and not blaming the fans, but like the vibe around the city and around the team, and not necessarily like St. Louis, but nationally looking at the team is like negative. Like, everyone just points out what's not going right, and they got to trade Arenado. What are they going to do with everybody else? Everybody last year saying things about John Mozeliak, even though he had a great full career, brings a couple World Series to St. Louis, but the last few years weren't great. So like, there's sometimes so much negativity on the outside or nationally that comes at these teams, that being here in spring training is like super refreshing, because these guys are super excited about being the young core, and these guys are super excited about being, having an opportunity to play big league ball and having a bit of a runway and being able to prove themselves. So I think that's been kind of one of my favorite parts about being here during spring training is how optimistic these guys are. And they realize what everybody's saying. Like, they're not like sheltered beyond the walls of this facility, being like, everyone thinks we're going to be so good and we think we're going to be so good. But they understand where the organization's at, and they're ready to prove people that they can be winners. And being able to talk with them this week before any games start, before any expectations are touched, has been really, really refreshing, I think, for people that cover the team, but also really refreshing for fans to hear from these guys in this kind of circumstance. So that's been really good. And just being able to watch them practice. We hardly get to see them practice and like really perfect their craft in St. Louis. And so being able to watch that this year and right now has been nice.
You've had a lot of really good posts on social media throughout this week. My favorite, I think, I don't remember who it was pitching, but you posted a poll on your Instagram story that was like,
Kyle Leahy,
could you hit this ball? And you were pretty
63%. Absurd, dude. Absurd.
Do you
no
think you
way could they hit that ball? No.
Could you make contact?
No. So
even.
I played high school baseball. mediocre at best, like
Yeah,
average
I
or
could
below
see it.
average baseball. Even worse hitter.
What
Like I was
position?
not. I hated it. Outfield. They just put me out there and I'd run around I'd catch balls. Like
Yeah,
that
you
was
were like probably bottom of the bottom of the lineup.
yeah. Like put me in the middle of the lineup. I'll crack some jokes. Team will be happy in the dugout. Like that's
Okay.
I like to chat, and yap, and coach was like just
Yeah, we
sit in the
know.
dugout and make people laugh. I was like, all right, sounds good. So like I played high school baseball. I faced guys that like threw Division I, like when I
Okay.
was a senior, and they would throw like 80s, low 80s, and I was like,
Blowing by
I was
you.
striking out. Yeah, like I was like, I can't hit this. And I'm out here and I'm talking to people like, hey, you think, not here, but like back home or wherever, I'm like, you think you could hit, like, if you got 100 chances at bat to hit like a major league pitcher, you think you could? Some people are like, yeah, I think I could. So I took video of Kyle Leahy, and it wasn't a fastball, so it looked a little slower, but it was like a sinker or curveball or whatever it was. And I had 63% people in the poll say yes. No way. I started talking to people here about that, and I was like, no way.
I voted yes, ironically. I don't mean it.
Yeah.
I just wanted to skew your numbers, but
and I'm hoping that's what everyone else was doing, because like, with all due respect to all the people that are athletic that follow me on Instagram, like these pitchers are so next level, and the ball moves at such a different pace and velocity and spin rate that to hit one of those, like, let alone you have a ball coming 95 miles an hour at you and you're not scared it's going to hit you, and then you have to like make a split-second decision and hit it with a wood bat, like there's no way. These guys are so talented that they make hitting baseballs look easy, and it's not. Like being able to stand there next to a bullpen like 5 feet away from where he's pitching, you're like, it looks fast on TV, it looks fast at Busch Stadium, but standing here and it's like within arm's reach, not a chance.
I think
not a chance.
When you get back, we need to get you in the batting cages at Rawlings. And
well, so that's a different story, because that's coming out of a batting cage. You know what I mean?
Well, I think it would still make good TV.
I could hit that for sure. It's coming out of a batting cage. I know where it's going.
We'll see.
You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, that first involves you coming back to St. Louis. We appreciate your insight, Jacob.
Can't wait.
I hope you come back to St. Louis. If you don't, I kind of understand if you want to just stay in Florida.
No, I won't. I brought like 6 long sleeves here. I've worn short sleeves all week.
Why did you do that?
I even looked at the weather. I was like, that doesn't seem very hot. Yeah, it's been toasty here all week. So,
okay.
I'm from the north. I could use some cold, so I'll come back to some 40s. I'll be all right.
Okay, well, we appreciate your insight. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy beach day to talk to me.
It will be fun. Thanks for the time, Grace.
See ya.